Hey guys, Scott here. Welcome to Koala Teatime. This is the fourth episode of my podcast, and if you've been keeping up with the others, you might notice that today things are a bit different. Visually, I don't have my microphone. The camera quality is different, and the reason for that is actually the first subject of today, which is that my laptop broke after the podcast last week. After filming episode 3, I went to turn it off and it started going funny on me, and so I tried doing a system restore on the laptop and it just wouldn't work. And I've had this problem before and I've been able to sort it out with advice from the internet, but nothing I was trying was working at all. The only option left was to wipe the whole thing, and I didn't want to do that because I've got my third album on there. I've got loads of song lyrics and scripts and all sorts of like creative writing pieces, and on top of that, photos and videos and all sorts of stuff I didn't want to lose, sentimental stuff. So I freaked out. And then I had a curry, because that's what I do when I'm freaked out. I took the laptop to a place nearby, literally a place right at the end of our road, just at the beginning of the high street here in Sheeptown, and I took it there and they had a look at it and they got back to me the next day and said, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Like, it's irreparable. Poof, it's gone. There's nothing we can do, but maybe try somewhere else. So I was a bit disappointed with that. And none of it was just, at the time of week it was, all the computer repair places nearby were shut. So I thought, okay, I'll wait a few days and I'll take it to another shop. And I started freaking out because they say, oh, the laptop's irreparable, we can't get the data. And I'm thinking, I've lost my last year of work. I spent all of 2019, up until the autumn, pretty much working on my album. And then, it's something that, even though it's out there and the files are out there and I'm proud of it and everything, it's something I wanted to come back to and remaster and do stuff with one day. And if I didn't have the track files, I kind of screwed, right? So for a minute that I thought I've entirely lost my third album and lost a whole year's of work. So I was pretty devastated, to be honest. And part of me was thinking, well, I'm opening a recording studio. I probably need to upgrade my computer system, in some way, because simply you need something more powerful. And so I really wasn't sure what to do, and I thought maybe I'll get a desktop computer. And I've got an old bandmate who, years ago, was telling me how he was building computers, and he's an old friend. He's basically a brother, essentially. I thought, oh, we haven't talked in 6 months, I'll drop him a line and see what's happening. And literally that night, he got in contact with me and asked how things were going, and we chatted a little bit. And I brought up the desktop computer idea, and I was saying laptop's broken, seems to be irreparable. We'll see. I'm taking it elsewhere, but desktop, I think, is the next way forward. You got any advice? And he sort of paused in the conversation and said, wait a tick. Tuesday night, I'm going to go have a look at it, and then I'll let you know what I think. This whole perspective thing's really annoying me. Anyway, so yeah, so we we chatted about that, and so he's gone away now to look at that. But it's kind of one of those things I talked about in the last podcast, how we keep encountering obstacles and getting the sheds out back built and getting my recording studio built. And but we also always find a solution to get forward, and sometimes it comes from unlikely places. And this again was just it kind of, well, it's not 100% a solution yet, 'cause we don't know if anything's going to happen here. I don't know if he's going to be able to help me build it or not, but it seems pretty likely. And just the timing of it all, it was just wow, did not expect this. So I do feel incredibly blessed. And so I kind of had this weird bittersweet feeling. I felt like I've potentially lost all these files and my laptop, and it's all going to be gone. But, it feels like this whole desktop thing is meant to happen. And maybe that's me reading too deep into it, but I don't believe in coincidences in life. I just don't feel that life is truly random, I guess. And I had a really deep conversation with a family member last Friday. I just went out for a pint with them, and it was just supposed to be like a hang out for an hour and just chat about stuff and see where things go. And then about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours later, still there, and the conversation got very deep and philosophical. We're both talking about our perspective on life and where we see life going. And me, like, I'm a Christian. Like, I believe in God, and I believe there's, like, I don't believe that life is truly random. I think there's a path going forwards, and that slowly unfurls. And I think he said that he thinks life's completely random, and it zigs and zags, and just it's absolutely crazy, and you can go in any direction in your life, and I can kind of see that. I kind of see, looking at like last year for me. Last year was a really chaotic year, really crazy year, and this year so far, I mean, it's only been half a month, but like it's going pretty well, to be honest. It's a typical January. I mean, stuff's happening, but it's cold, it's depressing outside. It's a bit of a sleepy hangover month, and it's tax return month. Oh. Anyway, but yeah, we had this conversation, and I was trying to voice that, I think, even though there is that path going forwards, I think even it's like a straight line, you zigzag through it, and you go off in weird directions, but you always come back to center before you go off again. Like, I don't know, like, how do you think life works? I mean, there's a perspective of a 28-year-old musician right here who has a penchant for animal hats. So that's the way I think it goes. But maybe I'm just being romantic. Anywho, so we had that very deep conversation, which affected me. Like, this person has been, very, I don't know what's the right word, someone in my life where it's not been an easy relationship, and so we chatted about a lot of things, and at the end of it I felt a sort of resolution. I felt a peace about the relationship that I never felt before, and that I wasn't expecting. Usually when we have these conversations, me and this person I'm talking about, it usually ends in someone crying or shouting, or just a lot of hate and vitriol. Not hate, but just a lot of like lots of arguing, essentially. And this time didn't, and I was able to walk away with it, and I felt a resolution. I felt a peace, and I think all of January I was kind of feeling, as we were getting back into building the studio after the sort of sleepy Christmas time, I was just feeling, I don't know, a little unresolved myself. As I talked about in previous podcasts, last year was a bit of a weird one for me, and so going into this year, I was like, there's certain things I just want to, smooth out and in my life, and creatively, personally, health wise, all sorts of stuff. And so that was my hope. But halfway through the month, I was starting to feel like, there's just all sorts of chaos still going about, especially in my job, which is a whole other podcast. Probably could do a whole series on my job, but yeah. But the stuff we were able to talk about and the resolution we were able to come to, I felt a lot of peace after it, and I walked away feeling like I needed that. I feel like from that conversation, I can go on into the year with a lot more peace in my heart. I guess. And in my second podcast video, I talked about the 20 something things I wanted to accomplish in 2020. And one of those was to just be like happy with myself and be comfortable with where I am in life right now. And I feel like I feel like I'm in a better place now than I was when I made that podcast, which must have only been 2 weeks ago. So yeah, so things are good, man. So that was good. That was a good moment. And a couple of days later, I got my laptop back. Well, not really. I took it to a new computer place and said save the memory if you can. Like if you can save the laptop, fair enough. But I got other plans to get a desktop and everything, so I'm not too bothered there. And I got a call yesterday morning, 8 o'clock. Dude woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I looked at my phone and I thought it was 6 o'clock. I was like, I don't want to be waking up at 8 o'clock on my day off, but there you go. I had to get my lazy arse out of bed and answer this phone call. But he said, yeah, we can save the data, but the computer is completely irreparable. It's past its sell by date. It's 8 years old. It's gone. And so I don't have a computer now, which is annoying because I started the podcast because I managed to save up some cash and get a nice set of cans and a webcam and a good kind of microphone for podcasting with. And now I can't use any of them because I can't plug them into my phone. I mean, I imagine there's some sort of strange system to do that, but I don't know how to do that. That's way too technical, and I'm just not an incredibly technical person. So it's just the guy who's starting a recording studio. But there you go. So it's going to just have to be like this to my phone for a while. And hopefully you enjoy the content that I'm putting out here. But yeah, it's a real bummer. It's a real bummer. Not having my laptop, it means I can't make thumbnails for things really, unless there's an app for that. Maybe there is, and I could do something there. We'll see. But yeah, I can't edit photos or make other big videos really because I don't have access to Adobe Premiere or Photoshop, and I can't use Cubase to mix anything. So there goes that, I guess. So it's that's gonna have to wait a while, but that's something I'm gonna have to press into and get a new computer done. But that's getting the computer done is going to have to wait until we get more of the shed stuff done, which is going well. In fact, we had the builders come back this week to do more work on my brother's shed, which is nearly done itself. And I mentioned to them, hey, like I want to get some like soundproofing put in. Do you have any ideas? And they talked about plasterboard, and I said, yeah, I want to get specific soundproof plasterboard. And they're like, oh, we can get that. And I talked about getting some resilient bars to go in the back of it for the soundproofing to go into, and they were against doing that, and we talked extensively about it. And I didn't know, I wasn't 100% on saying yes, but I said yes anyway, because even though all the places I looked online said you should get a bar to make like an air gap essentially, because that helps absorb the sound. I thought, there's a layer of insulation, there's another layer of board, and then there is soundproof plasterboard. So there's 3 layers plus the layer of the shed itself, and we're shutting off all sort of air gaps that we can. So like this is pretty nifty so far. I think sound wise we're going to do okay. And so we'll have to obviously do some more sound tests once it is properly airtight and see what happens. Man, it's coming along. It's coming along. And it's cool. It's gone from having, just wood on the walls to now having this blue plasterboard up, and it just changes the feel of the room. It suddenly feels aquatic. Not that there's going to be any fish in there. I'm not sure whether fish like loud music. Do they? Comment below if you know. It's now half of the board's up, and they're going to complete it tomorrow. And I thought it was going to be done next week, so I told the electrician to come 2 weeks from now. I could tell him to come next week, but alas, it's set in stall. So soundproofing plasterboard will be done tomorrow, so I'll do a little video on Saturday, and you can have a look around how the studio is shaping up, because it's coming along. I've painted several of the sides now, and yeah. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have electricity in there, and I cannot wait to plug in a guitar and just wow, huge power chord. I've always wanted to recreate that scene from Back to the Future. I don't know if you know it, but it's the scene when Marty McFly picks up the guitar, that really tiny guitar that has no body to it. You remember that thing? And like he goes in front of Doc Brown's big amp, and he strums a chord, and it boof shoots him back through the wall, and then the Doc's like, Marty, I hope you didn't check out the amp because it's too powerful. All that. Great start to a movie, by the way. All movies should start with a scene like that. Or just that scene. Just a random scene from Back to the Future. Anyway. Yeah. Hopefully I won't shoot myself through the wall. But I cut back in, was it December or maybe November? I can't remember. But there's a venue nearby. Probably like one of the nearest music venues to where I live now in Sheeptown, in Staines up the road. There's a place called the London Stone where I've played excessively over the last 2-3 years or so. Anywho, so yeah, but been doing lots of shows there, and the guy who runs the place, Adam, really cool guy. He went on Facebook and said, "Oh, I'm just getting rid of stuff. I'm giving stuff out for free that we have at the studio because we're upgrading systems. So does anyone want X, Y, and Z?" And I had a look at it, and I saw one of them was this big old like Ashdown bass cab. You know, of like a big thing with 4 speakers. Like it's sat right next to me right now, and it's going in the studio. And like as soon as I saw that, I was like, me, I'll have that, please, Adam, thank you. And so, yeah, that's cool. So maybe I'll recreate the scene from Back to the Future with my new bass cab. That's gonna be fun. I need to get a bass head for it though. I've never had like a head and cab combination before, and I don't claim to be the best bass guitarist in the world, but yeah, once we've got the video set up in there, it's gonna be awesome. Oh, that's another thing that totally happened. Man, loads of stuff's happened in the last week. I know this podcast is kind of more of a, just a general what's happened in Scott's world this week rather than having like one singular focus. But, if you're watching on camera rather than the audio later on, I bought a camera back in November. I played a gig and made some good money from it. So I thought, I've been doing lots of YouTube this year, sort of like prioritising that. So I want a proper camera to do YouTube with. So I bought an SLR camera. I think that's what you call it, SLR? SDR? It doesn't say in the box. I think it's SLR. Anyway, whatever it is, it's a good camera. But I bought it slightly cheaper, so it didn't come with a lens kit, and so I went out online and bought a lens that it said would work well with it. That was cheap enough. That was about 15 quid, but still good quality. And I got the lens and then tried to put it on the camera, and it wouldn't screw on. It was just like, what's going on? Then I discovered that you need an adapter for these cameras, and so I ordered an adapter on eBay, and the guys, it took about 3 weeks to arrive, and it was the wrong adapter, and I was just like, why have you sent me the wrong one? Like, this is just a bit silly. Anyway, so finally, a proper adapter arrived, and last weekend, and so I just got it out and started moving it about and getting used to it, and man, it's so cool. It's so cool having like a proper camera. And so once the studio's set up, a whole load's going to change on the channel. Like, the video quality is going to, yeah, I don't know, needs the sound effect there, yeah. It's going to hopefully lift up and get way better. So I'm really excited about the camera. That's a really fun toy to have. And that happened literally like the day I got the news about the laptop being kaput. So I was like, wow, okay, so Lose one toy, get another, I guess. Go figure. Yeah, man. So, what else been going on in my world, man? Let's talk a little bit more. I'm enjoying this. I hope you are too. So, on top of all that, music-wise, creatively, I've been finishing off. Sorry, got a bit of a warm head. I've been finishing off some songs. And I've been looking over stuff I've been writing over the last few years. And as you know, I try to release an album every 2 years and have something to work towards. So because I released one last year, this year is more of like, you know, a year to like gather material, I guess, and finish stuff off. And then next year, or maybe the end of this year, I'll start recording in the new studio, which is going to be so much fun. Anywho, so yeah, so I've been looking at songs, and usually how I finish off songs as well. I'll start a song, and I'll like write a whole bunch for it, and then I'll run out of ideas usually within the first half an hour, and I'll put it away in a drawer, and then I'll just leave it. And you know, if it stays with me, it'll pop up in my head again 6 months later or something like that, and I'll go, oh, that one's come back to me. That's a keeper, that one. And the ones that don't fade into time, essentially. But that's kind of how I do it. I let things just go by the wayside for a little while, and then yeah, if they pop back up, there we go. And so back last year, back around the summertime, or maybe it was September. It was like August, September time. I was on my phone, and I downloaded like a hip hop beat maker app to help record another song called Sweet Science Fiction. That was part of like a crowdfunder thing I did in getting the third album funded. Anyway, so I had to write a song for someone who donated a large amount. So thank you again if you're watching, Katie. Anywho, so yeah, lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I had this hip hop beat maker that I'd used for another song, and I was looking at it. I was like, should I delete this off my phone? And then I thought, I want to like see what else it's got, and so I played around with it, and it had a big update over the month since I'd used it last. So I tried some of the new sounds out, and I came up with this sort of like cheesy hip hop beat with some cheesy hip hop sounds. It was like this. Yeah, it was it was really lame, but I really liked it, and I sort of saved it as a file, a WAV file on my phone, and left it for a while. And then I was going through old recordings on my phone to see if there was something I'd forgotten about that was cool, and I found that, and I had a title that I'd come up with, which was I Like Your Girlfriend, which as a title, I just thought it's kind of provocative and kind of like the thing you shouldn't say. And for me, those are the kind of songs I really want to write. I really want to write this song saying the stuff that you shouldn't say, you know, because music should all be about mischief, shouldn't it? And that's the punk rock thing. Even if it isn't a punk sound, it's the ethos behind the lyrics and the attitude behind it. And so I started writing I Like Your Girlfriend to this hip hop beat, and was just having a real fun time with it. And basically the story of the song is that there's a guy who likes his mate's girlfriend, and he feels awkward about it. And for the first half of the song, he's trying to say, look, I like your girlfriend, but I'd never do all the naughty things my mind gets up to, and just goes off on little tangents. And then as the song goes on, he starts to go, actually, I think she likes me, you know, and it starts to spiral downwards until this guy and his mate's girlfriend accidentally make love, and then he tells his friend about it and tries to blame it on his drink being spiked, and then it just goes off into more absurdity from there. And so it was really fun to write, and it really felt like I was sort of tackling that genre, that sort of hip hop genre, and that growing up, as a teenager in the noughties, there were so many like girlfriend songs. Avril Lavigne had that. Hey, hey, you, I don't like your girlfriend, and then like there was what were they called? The Pussycat Dolls, was that it? And they had that song, "Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me?" And these are all the songs like going to school. You just hear people playing on their MP3 players. Yes, it was MP3 players. No one was playing things on their phones back then. And you just hear people listen to it. And it was always on the radio, on the TV, everything. And just even though you're not a fan of those songs, it sort of sinks into your system. And so in writing this song, I always feel like I've exercised some of those like 15-year-old like demons of like being like blasted with those like horrible cheesy pop songs, and I was able to like take the framework of it but do something different and interesting with it. Yeah, so I started working on it back at the end of the summer / early autumn, and then the last week I was at work and no one showed up to my music session last Thursday. So I drove all the way to Winchester to do my music session. No one showed up because there was a big, huffar at the prison. Go figure. And so I had nothing to do. I was waiting around for an hour for people to show up. So I got the piano and started playing around with the song, which I hadn't really touched in a while. And was just figuring it out on piano, and just new lyrics started coming to me, so I started scratching them down. So I might have travelled an hour there and an hour back for nothing, but, well, I got some more of the song, and then Monday morning, before anyone arrived to my music session, I sat down at the piano again, and I've got it like 90% there. I've nearly got it. I've got an outro, I've got an idea of where it's all going to go, and I'm really excited to play this song live, and it's really got me jazzed about getting a new band together, which is one of my goals for this year, is to get a new band together. And I need to just get out there and put myself out there and start messaging people. I mean, in a way, I still feel scarred by my last lineup. Like, makes it sound bad, but like, yeah, there were some nice people in my last band, and there was someone who was a genuine. Anyway, point is, it was not an incredibly positive experience, and left me not wanting, like the aftermath of it left me not wanting to get a band to go. So I was just like, this is too dramatic, like whatever. But I guess like in wrapping up the podcast here, the last beat of it really, it's that my general attitude towards gigging has waned in the last year. I mean, in the summertime, looking back at summer, I played some amazing shows in the summer. I sold loads of merch. I had a really good time. People seemed to be really enjoying themselves. Lots of positive feedback coming. I played all over the block. Like, it was really fun. Despite not touring last year, the summer of gigging last year was way better than like all 2018's gigs combined. Anyway, so I had a really good time and doing that. But then, like, after that, I just played a string of really dud shows that I just was not having a good time playing. And, like, I shows where people were really singing along and doing stuff, and just still I wasn't enjoying it the way I should be. Like, it felt like work. It started to feel like that, and so I've just cut down the amount of gigs I've been doing. And I'm starting to miss it. But also part of me is like, it's a new decade, and I don't want to like just stop gigging, I don't want to lose my passion for it. And in my job, my whole thing is about putting together little band practices and getting people to play in a band for the first time, and so I play with a band every week, and I really enjoy it, and I get to play all the instruments, and it's great fun. And so I from doing that, I've sort of, that's filled the band's hole in my life for quite some time, my job, but I want to get back into being able to play a proper stage with a band again and really have fun there and just go wild and get on an electric guitar again. And it'll give me an excuse to buy the Fender Stratocaster that I want. I really, really want an Arctic White Fender Stratocaster. I used to be more about Gibson, and I love my Les Paul, but I'm a Strat man. I think I'm a Strat man. I play one at work, and it feels me. Yeah. So I think, yeah, despite not having played a lot recently and sort of having felt a bit bummed out at some of my previous shows, I think I'm definitely going to go towards trying to get a band together this year. And I need to get out there and just start talking to people, stop putting it aside. Because the thing is about me, like, even though I go out and I play gigs and I do my videos and everything, I can go wild and I enjoy all of it. Like, I'm pretty insular. Like, I spend a lot of time sat indoors writing fan fiction. I do. Like, and as much as I love doing that, it's time to get back out in the world and talk to people again. But there you go. So there you go. There's been podcast episode 4, and as I mentioned in every podcast, I'm still sort of figuring out what works for me in these videos. So I'm trying different things out each time, and now I've sort of lost my setup in terms of a microphone and everything. So it's even more raw than before. So I hope you've enjoyed this today. If you have, please like, comment, and subscribe. I never ask that, by the way, but you are more than welcome to. Yeah, so this has been me. I hope you're having a great week, and stay awesome. See you next time. Peace.